Hello, everyone, and welcome to Battle of the Beasts, battle number 11 of Transformation Takedown. I'm Adam, and today we've got two more beasts fighting out for a spot in round two. And with both of these beasts, this seems to be an interesting fight because there's a drastic size difference between these beasts, and I have a rough idea on what I want to do. Whether I will actually be able to do it, though, I do not know. But my opinion on these beasts are they're both in the top 100. One made it to the top half, barely, and the other one wasn't really close to making it to the top 100, but I do have some appreciation for, but it's gone down over time. So yeah, I would say one I would say is underrated, one I would say is a little bit overrated, but they're still good beasts in my opinion. So with that, let's introduce them. Representing Series 9, the Warlock Staff, I believe the third beast to fight from this series, we have Koraka. No, fourth beast to fight from the series. We have Koraka, the Winged Assassin, versus her opponent, representing Series 10, Master of the Beasts, and the fourth beast to fight from this series as well. We have a Voltrex, the two-headed octopus. So yeah, Koraka versus Voltrex. I mean, this looks like a good fight. So I'm looking forward to see what could happen. I'm not entirely sure what will happen, but we'll find out. I do have a rough idea on who might win, and I know who could win, but I don't know how I can really narrate this to make it seem like both of them have a chance. But let's get to the stats. Maybe that will help. Until then, let's see you at the stats. I can't press the pause button. Let's try that again. Till then, I'll see you at the stats. Koraka the Winged Assassin. With her scaly legs and huge wings and fearsome talent, it would be easy to dismiss Koraka as a lumbering animal, but she is clever enough to carry a spear as well, giving her several options for attack. Koraka was once a good innocent shepherdess, but the witch Petra used her magic to turn Koraka evil. Age 25, power 260, magic level 167, fright factor 93, size 101. Powers and abilities: flight, natural weaponry, weapon mastery, enhanced strength, and enhanced durability. Equipment: three-pronged spear. Weaknesses: flock of birds and reversion. Flock of birds can, Karaka can be taken down by the flock of birds summoned by the Jade Whistle. Voltrex the two-headed octopus. Long ago, Voltrex was the scourge of the Western Ocean in one of the fishing villages on the Avantian coast. There is a carving on whalebone that shows the gigantic octopus grappling with a ship. Voltrex was destroyed in a great battle by a knight dressed in blue armor and armed with a mace. This noble warrior was from the place now known as Arenal. Age 325, power 253, magic level 164, fright factor 80, size 269. Powers and abilities: underwater breathing, natural weaponry, enhanced strength, and enhanced durability. Weaknesses: soft skin and likely inability to breathe out of water. However, the Blue Knight can breathe out of water. Okay, so we got the stats on Koraka the Winged Assassin and Voltrex the two-headed octopus. As with a custom with the Series 10 beasts, they have the ability to turn into the knight forms and beast at will. So, Koraka's fighting a blue knight with a mace and a two-headed octopus. This will be interesting. The battlefield is going to be the Clock Arena, because I think that's a good chunk of water that Voltrex has access to, as well as giving some land for Koraka to be on if she's needing it. With that, let's get into the fights. As the chamber doors open, Koraka bursts out through the sky exit and lands on a perch in front of her chamber, staring at the arena, seeing this familiar arena. As she looks to the other side, she sees a knight come out of the chamber, dripping with water, dragging a mace along the stone spoke. They engage in eye contact, and as the knight lifts up the mace, ready to attack, or waiting for an attack, Koraka lunges for the knight, leaping from her podium, charging straight towards him with the three-pronged spear ready to impale this knight. As soon as when the Blue Knight sees this, he drops the mace into the water and falls sideways into the water. Koraka reels back, confused by this, and lands on the ground, trying to see where the knight went in the water. Almost instantly, a tentacle bursts out of the water, making Koraka take a step back, and another tentacle bursts out of the water behind her. She turns around to see it, and 6 more tentacles emerge out of the water, all covered with thorny spikes going down each one. And Koraka hears a low rumbling coming out from underneath her. Koraka realizes that the knight must have turned into this beast. She realizes what she's going up against. As the tentacles all come down onto her at the same time, Koraka wastes no time lifting up the spear and holding it to just poke, slash, defend herself from these tentacles, the onslaught tentacles coming down onto her. She even lifts up her leg and her talon to slash at them as well, bites down on one that comes too close to her, and uses her claws to slash at one as well. When she's able to get into a safe spot, she takes up to the sky, getting out of reach of the tentacles, as the ground beneath her suddenly shatters as Voltrex appears, chewing down on the rock with his tough beak, almost like it was nothing. Koraka stares in utter shock at this, seeing that this beast is twice her size. But she does not let that surprise scare her. She stares down at Voltrex as Voltrex stares up at her. Sorry about that. I had to take care of something. So anyway, as I was saying, Voltrex is staring up at Koraka with all of his tentacles out, slowly coming back into the water. As Koraka stares down at this monster that she knows she has to defeat, she's wondering how she can do it. But she also knows that if she gets too close, that could be the last mistake she ever does. Koraka knows if she loses her weapon, she's good as dead as well. So, as Voltrex fully submerged himself under the water, he comes back out as the Blue Knight coming up onto a spoke with the mace, looking up at Koraka, gesturing her to come towards him. Koraka, knowing that this would be a trap, decides to play this game. She dives down towards the knight, which immediately dives into the water again, and knowing this, she doesn't land on the spoke and sees that the tentacles all come up, in which she immediately stabs at each one that dares to get close to her, and is greeted by Voltrex again, which she gets to a safe distance back, and realizing that this was going to be a repeat game going on and on of what's going to happen, she takes a deep breath, squawks in a way where it's almost like a battle cry, and dives down towards Voltrex. Voltrex's eyes widen, almost like that's what he wanted Koraka to do. As he extends all his tentacles out towards Koraka, Koraka keeps her body straight and dives in between each tentacle, slashing at each one with her talons or a spear, just attacking each tentacle that dares come near, knocking them back, slashing at them, blood's dripping from all these tentacles now. Voltrex is roaring in pain at this. As Koraka's making her way through each tentacle which dares come near her, dodging them all very well with her agility, she comes face to face with both of Voltrex's heads, which she lifts up a spear, slams it in the middle, both of the heads, along the back, along the beak here, which goes right through the skin almost effortlessly. Koraka then, instead of pulling it out, decides that she's going to play a little bit of a game. And she takes up to the sky, flaps her wings and pushes herself forward, dragging the spear down the whole beak, going down, round the whole area in between both the heads. Voltrex is roaring in pain, and whilst Koraka's doing this, she fails to notice that a bunch of tentacles are coming at her from all distances, and one of them wraps completely around Koraka, constricting her entirely. As she feels the spikes digging into her. She starts screeching in pain, and Voltrex lets out a almost low, growling laugh as Voltrex submerges underwater, dragging Koraka with him. Koraka realizes that she's now out of her depth. Ignore the pun there. She's trying to figure out how to get away with her spear very close in her grip, but also tied against her back. She knows that she can't even use that to get out. She decides that whilst underwater, trying to hold on to her breath, she needs to lose the air in her mouth just to get out. She bites down onto the tentacle. Voltrex roars in pain, loosening his grip enough for Koraka to squeeze out and using the spear to cut that tentacle clean off. As she makes her way back to the surface, trying not to lose too much air, she is greeted by other tentacles coming up towards her, which she slashes at them and tries to back away, but also trying to get up onto the surface, keeping the tentacles at bay as well. As she gets up onto the stone spoke, she's sopping wet. She makes her way to the centre of the arena, trying to catch her breath, dripping with water everywhere. The spectators are staring at her, thinking, how the hell did she survive that? As Koraka is preparing to be bombarded by more tentacles, she gets a hold of herself, holding the spear ready, and just looks around for any tentacles that dare come near her. While she's looking around, she turns around and sees the Blue Knight just standing there. Koraka, thinking that she's going to try and get pulled into another trap that's laid by Voltrex, she just stays where she is, planting her spear into the ground, crossing her arms, refusing to move. The Blue Knight sees this and realizes that Koraka's not stupid anymore. He's going to attack her. So the Blue Knight grabs the mace and charges up towards Koraka, running at quite an impressive speed for a knight that's wearing very heavy armor. Koraka unfolds her arms, lifts up a spear, waits for the Blue Knight to get close to her. As the Blue Knight lifts up the mace, ready to batter Koraka, Koraka lifts up the spear, deflects it, and then using one of her claws, she slashes at the knight's chest plate, which does almost no damage. But then what she does is she unfolds her wings, flaps back to avoid the mace coming down on her, and uses her spear to stab at the chest plate, which knocks the knight back. As the knight looks down at his chest plate, he sees that it's been impaled, almost like the spear was strong enough to impale the chest plate. In anger, the knight roars and charges up with the mace again, going to smash down on Koraka, but Koraka takes up to the sky, avoiding any possible reach from the knight. The knight, in anger, turns into Voltrex and reaches up towards Koraka. Koraka dives down towards Voltrex, slashing at any tentacle that comes near, refusing to let any tentacle come near her. She slashes each tentacle, them all falling down one by one, until there's only 2 tentacles left on Voltrex. Voltrex not letting anything scare him. He stares at Koraka as Koraka stares back at him. Voltrex then decides that the best bet would be to turn back into the knight to defend what's left of him. As Koraka comes down to the ground, the knight fully appears, and they both look at each other, give a nod, as in like they're going to do a fair one-on-one battle, no dirty tricks. As they charge up towards each other, the knight lifts up his mace to give a side swipe towards Koraka. Koraka deflects it with her spear and slashes at the knight, catching his neck, knocking him down to the ground. But as the knight is falling to the ground, Koraka grabs the knight's mace, stopping him from falling fully to the ground, and pries it out of his hands. As the knight falls to the ground, he stares up at Koraka, now holding a spear and a mace. Koraka drops the spear, lifts up the mace, and brings it down right on the Blue Knight's back, shattering the chest plate from behind and shattering the knight's spine. The knight roars in pain as he looks up to see that Koraka's now grabbing the spear and going to jab it down on his head before the knight changes back into Voltrex again and wraps a tentacle around both of Koraka's wrists, hoisting her up and staring into the eyes of Voltrex. Koraka realizes that Voltrex has deceived her, thinking there was going to be a fair one-on-one fight, but Voltrex wasn't going to go down that easily. Koraka, trapped, not knowing what to do, as Voltrex tightens his grip on her wrists. Koraka can't do anything. Voltrex pulls Koraka towards him, opening his mouth, about to bite down onto her. Koraka knows if she gets bitten by Voltrex, she's as good as gone. Not having a weapon in reach, she tries to lean herself backwards and forwards, swinging herself to try and get out of Voltrex's grip. And using her talon, she's able to slash at one of the tentacles, loosening the grip well enough to be able to get out. And then using her claw, she's able to slash at the other tentacle to lose her grip, to quickly get out of grip from the bite which Voltrex was about to do on her. She grabs her spear and chucks it at Voltrex, impaling one of Voltrex's eyes. Voltrex roars in pain about this, but not letting that get the better of him. He lashes out his two remaining tentacles right at her, and Koraka is able to take a step back, only just barely barely escaping the tentacles. A little out of breath here. Only just barely escaping the tentacles. As, hold on, let's try and think. Barely escaping the tentacles, one eye missing, okay. Koraka then instantly goes back in for another attack, dodging the tentacles almost effortlessly, still feeling the pain from the tightened grip on her wrists and around her body from the spines on the tentacles. She slashes at them with the spear, trying to get close to Voltrex's head. But what she doesn't notice is that one of the tentacles actually wraps around the mace which was left on the floor, and it's brought up and batters Koraka to the side, knocking her against the wall of the arena, falling into the water. As Koraka breaks the surface of the water, she goes to take flight, flapping any water off her wings, and sees Voltrex just sitting there in the middle of the arena, laughing menacingly, with a mace in his hand, almost not even a tenth of his size, tossing it up into the air, catching it with the same tentacle, almost tauntingly, and using one tentacle, gestures Koraka to come close, almost like a dare. Koraka, completely winded from that battering and still feeling the pain from her injuries, stares at Voltrex, who's bleeding out from the tentacles and the spear jabs along his beak, but also in his eye, that he seems to be working out just fine. Koraka's thinking, is this beast even possible to defeat? As Voltrex is laughing menacingly, he says to Koraka, saying that 3 of my teammates have already made it into the next round, and I'm going to be the next one. You can't beat us. You never were strong enough. You lost the Vigor and it wasn't even a fight. Koraka, fueled by anger there, takes a deep breath and charges towards Voltrex, as Voltrex lashes out with both tentacles and the mace, going to batter Koraka. Koraka ducks below the mace, using the spear, slices that tentacle, dropping the mace into the water, stabbing another tentacle with the other spear and yanking it back out, slicing that tentacle off. She makes her way towards the heads, using her talons to dig into the eye of another head, digging at it, using the spear to impale it on one head, killing that head instantly, pulling it out, turning it around very quickly and stabbing it through the eye, which she was clawing out with her talon. The Voltrex was growling or screeching throughout the entire process, but as soon as that spear went through that second head's eye, the screeching stopped, and Voltrex fell backwards into the water, sinking to the watery grave below him. Koraka picks up her spear, lands on the center island that Voltrex was just on, and just falls to her knees, gasping for breath, exhausted from this insane fight against a behemoth twice her size. Once she regains her breath, she stands up, looks up to the spectators who are in utter shock, staring at her in complete silence. She realizes that no one was expecting her to win. As she makes her way back to her chamber without hearing a single cheer or applause, right before she goes in, she hears an applause start, and then suddenly the applause go louder and louder and louder. She turns around thinking that Voltrex is still there, so gets into an attack position, ready to try and defend herself, but nothing's there. She realised that the crowd was cheering for her. In shock by this, she drops her defensive stance, lifts up her claw to, give a wave, like, yes, I did this, and makes her way back to her chamber, not knowing how to feel that no one was expecting her to win. And with that, Koraka's won, Voltrex has lost. If you think Voltrex should win, please comment below. I think that how my words final and Koraka's moving on to the next round. Now, I do understand that Voltrex is probably the one that was supposed to win this fight. However, with how the fight went, and it was up and down. It was kind of like, okay, Koraka's showing that she has the chance to win. Voltrex is a behemoth. Yeah. Ultimately, I gave the victory to Koraka because Koraka has the agility on her side and is quite durable. Feeling pain, yes, but it's still durable. Voltrex has soft skin, so it's relatively easy to pierce it or slash it, whilst Koraka's durable, so it'll be harder to make a bleed. So I do think that whilst this may be a bit of a controversial pick for who won, I do think Koraka is the right winner here. With the agility and experience, weapon mastery she has with Spear, I think she is a good winner. Whilst I could see a case in which Voltrex can win, it's 50-50. I think it really came down to how I narrated the fight, and yeah, I can see why Voltrex could win, but I gave the victory to Koraka because I do think Koraka is underrated. I think she does have some good battle experience, despite being a human transformed into a beast, so not really having that much experience being a beast. Reflexes, agility, durable, I think that makes up for it. And shows that the Series 10 beast was being looming threats in this series, as established by the previous 3 battles the Series 10 beasts were in. It shows they're not indestructible. And yeah, Voltrex's weaknesses got exposed, and Koraka took advantage of that. So yeah, if the victory is controversial, which I know it probably is, that's how I narrated it, I'm afraid. Koraka's moving on to the next round. Quite frankly, I'm happy about it. I like Koraka. I want the chance to really appreciate Koraka in the tournament, and defeating Voltrex is rather impressive. I think she did a good job at defeating Voltrex, really showing that size isn't everything. And with this kind of battle, I was getting similar vibes to Shrek Forever After, when Shrek and Fiona took on the dragon, or even Shrek when Shrek took on the dragon. Using his own weight against him is what Koraka did. There's other cases which that happened. Those are the only ones which I'm thinking of at the moment. I know there was another one which I was just thinking of, but I can't remember it. But yeah, the size of Voltrex was used again. Oh, Ice Age with Buck versus Rudy. The size isn't everything, and the weight got used against Voltrex. And I think Koraka did a good job. I think she deserves the victory. I would like to see her make it further. Whether she will or won't, I don't know. It depends who her opponent is. But yeah, good battle in my opinion. Koraka does deserve to make it this far, further. And it's nice to see that Koraka actually made it past round 1 for once. But yeah, with that, That's all for this time. I'm fully aware this is a controversial pick, but if you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.